Welcome to What Would You Choose? Your daily dose of fun choices. Elephant versus mouse. Which one has a long trunk? The answer is elephant. Car versus bicycle. Which one has an engine? The answer is car. Lion versus panda. Which one is a big cat? The answer is lion. Airplane versus kite. Which one has wings and carries people? The answer is airplane. Whale versus goldfish. Which one is a mammal? The answer is whale. Fire truck versus tractor. Which one has a siren? The answer is fire truck. Giraffe versus zebra. Which one has spots instead of stripes? The answer is giraffe. Scooter versus skateboard. Which one has handlebars? The answer is scooter. Bee versus butterfly. Which one stings? The answer is bee. Helicopter versus parachute. Which one has spinning blades? The answer is helicopter. Peacock versus turkey. Which one has a fan-like tail? The answer is peacock. Bone versus teddy bear. Which one is a toy? The answer is teddy bear. Alligator versus lizard. Which one lives in swamps? The answer is alligator. Boat versus surfboard. Which one has seats? The answer is boat. Fox versus wolf. Which one is larger? The answer is wolf. Rocket versus planet. Which one is a vehicle? The answer is rocket. Octopus versus squid. Which one has more arms? The answer is octopus. Kick scooter versus wheelchair. Which one is for doing tricks? The answer is kick scooter. Cheetah versus leopard. Which one runs faster? The answer is cheetah. Train versus trolley. Which one has a locomotive? The answer is train. Parrot versus dodo. Which one is still alive today? The answer is parrot. Balloon versus kite. Which one needs a string to fly? The answer is kite. Rhino versus hippo. Which one lives in rivers? The answer is hippo. Van versus tricycle. Which one is a motor vehicle? The answer is van. Owl versus hawk. Which one has better night vision? The answer is owl. Canoe versus swimmer. Which one is made of wood or plastic? The answer is canoe. Snake versus gecko. Which one can stick to walls? The answer is gecko. Truck versus sports car. Which one is built for speed? The answer is sports car. Gorilla versus monkey. Which one swings from trees? The answer is monkey. Saw versus hammer. Which one bangs nails? The answer is hammer. Dolphin versus tuna. Which one breathes air? The answer is dolphin. BMX bike versus motorcycle. Which one has a motor? The answer is motorcycle. Squid versus clam. Which one has a hard shell? The answer is clam. Ambulance versus police car. Which one has a stretcher inside? The answer is ambulance. Coyote versus fox. Which one lives in deserts? The answer is coyote. UFO versus spaceship. Which one is real and goes to the moon? The answer is spaceship. Otter versus beaver. Which one has a flat tail? The answer is beaver. Speedboat versus raft. Which one has an engine? The answer is speedboat. Antelope versus goat. Which one lives in the wild? The answer is antelope. Delivery truck versus bulldozer. Which one moves dirt? The answer is bulldozer. Steak versus salad. Which one is vegetarian? The answer is salad. Deer versus kangaroo. Which one has antlers? The answer is deer. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Seendal Kids for more Would You Rather quizzes likes that.